Welcome to Business Line's State of the Economy podcast, where you'll find insight, analysis, and the story behind the numbers.
Hello and welcome to Business Line State of the Economy podcast. I'm your host S. Ronendra Singh, and today we are going to talk about the automobile sales during this festive season and how the retail sales look like as the year ends. According to FADA, or Federation of Automobile Dealers Associations, October 2024 witnessed the convergence of two major festivals, Navratri and Diwali, both occurring in the same month. And these festivities traditionally account for 30 to 35% of total annual auto sales. So the industry was much focused on how October would unfold, and with dealers entering this crucial period fully committed and carrying all-time high inventory levels, the month did not disappoint. Overall, retail sales grew by 32% year-on-year in October to 28 lakh 32,944 units as compared with 21 lakh 43,929 units in October 2023. The two-wheeler retail sales grew by more than 36% year-on-year to 20 lakh 65,095 units in October 2024 as compared with 15 lakh 14,634 units in the corresponding month last year. Similarly, passenger vehicle retail sales grew by more than 32% year-on-year to 4,83,159 units as compared with 3,64,991 units in October last year. During the 42 days festive period also, beginning from first day of Navratri to 15 days post Dhanteras, the industry saw a robust growth in sales of around 12% year-on-year at 42 lakh 88,248 units as compared with 38 lakh 37,040 units in festive period sales in 2023. Two-wheeler sales recorded a growth of 14% year-on-year, 33 lakh at 11,325 units during this festive period as compared with 29 lakh 10,141 units in the festive period of last year. Passenger vehicle sales recorded growth of 7% year-on-year to 6 lakh 3,009 units during this festive period as compared with 5 lakh 63,059 units in same period last year. Sales of commercial vehicles and three-wheelers also saw growth during this period. Now, as the festivities conclude, FADA anticipates passenger vehicles stock levels will reduce further as compared to October, and going forward, this momentum should continue in the beginning of the next year too. So, to talk more in details, we have CS Vigneshwar, President of Federation of Automobile Dealers Associations today. So, let's begin.
Hi, Vigneshwar. Welcome to the Business Lines State of the Economy podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having us over.
To start with, I wanted to ask you how has been the festive season this year in auto sales, in the retail sales, especially two-wheelers, passenger vehicles and commercial vehicles.
I think the festive season has gone exceedingly well. The retails have been uh, quite a revelation. In the two-wheeler segment, we are at about 13.79% up, which is extremely good given the fact that the two-wheeler segment had a lot of headwinds in the last couple of years. So, having faced all the headwinds, I think now the two-wheeler sales has really done well for us in the festive season 2024. Even when you look at passenger vehicles, given the tepid demand which existed before the festive season, when you look at the festival season for 24, we are up at about 7.10%, which is about 6 lakh 3,009 vehicles, which is excellent again. I hope this continues because there were a lot of reasons why the sales were a little bit tepid before the festive, but the festive has really kick-started the industry as such.
Right.
And hopefully we're going to see green shoots continue and going. Yes.
So, do you think this green shoots is a short term or in long term? You meant to say?
There would be some amount of pent-up demand because
Mhm.
the protracted elections and the varying weather conditions, which were either too hot and then it became too rainy. We had some demand which was postponed, so that could be also part of it. There's also an indication that finally the customer is away from all the other events which tied them down. Again, it's weather related and election protracted elections.
Right.
So now finally the customer has time and he or she have the mind space to step out and start
Hmm.
shopping.
Hmm.
We also looking at this continue. I don't think it's short term. We are looking at this continue,
Okay.
and we are looking at fairly good couple of months from now. Yes.
Okay. But in terms of sales, like we are in the end of the year, so do you think there are footfalls during the last months of the year? Because there are still myths that people would like to buy in the new year, because for the resale value when they sell in future.
You're right. A lot of customers have looked at the next year model because that really helps in terms of resale value.
Hmm.
Um, but there are certainly these customers who still exist. But
Okay.
we have seen that over years, uh, there are different segments of customers who have also come.
Right.
And the new set of customers are looking at deals,
Okay.
they're looking at extremely good deals which happen during the year end
Hmm.
because the changeover of the model is coming in.
Right.
So this year, apart from that, we also have a phenomenal news, which is there are a lot of muhurtams for the wedding season, auspicious days in the
Right.
next couple of months. So
Right.
that would certainly help us ramp up our retails.
Hmm.
And we're also seeing evidence of it. We've been speaking to our dealer members, and they're quite happy regarding the retails continue strongly.
Okay. What about on the discounts part? Is there heavy discounts during this year end?
The discounts have started remaining stable for now because I believe that discounts are a factor of stock. So we still have extremely high stock levels.
Okay.
We are hoping this would reduce further in the next month, and going on to December, probably it'll also reduce further. But we are still at quite unhealthy stock levels,
Okay.
and hopefully the manufacturers also take cognizance of it and
Mhm.
are able to help dealerships optimize their inventory.
Okay. So what is the kind of inventory level that we have right now? Is there any figures that you can share?
At
And
the
how many
starting of
days
the
of
month,
waiting?
yeah, at the starting of this month, we were at about 75 days. That's our estimation.
Okay.
I really don't have data right now, running data right now to see how much we are at.
Mhm.
But within the next couple of weeks, we will be having the data regarding what's the stock levels like.
Okay. Okay. And how has been the demand from rural area? I mean, there has been talks of rural markets being revived. So can you give us some sense like what is the kind of drive which is driving the sales there and as compared to urban sales?
I think the rural markets have really helped us this year in terms of sales because um, the finally Bharat is kicking in terms of the kind of contribution it can contribute towards the urban India.
Okay.
Even when you look at it, the rural India in two wheelers is extremely strong
Mhm.
because when you look at it, last month at least, the data which we have,
Okay.
about 55.5% of the sales has actually come from rural areas.
Okay.
And when you look at passenger vehicles, about 39% has come from the rural areas. This is an increase of 2% in passenger vehicles from from last, I mean, from the beginning of the year.
Okay.
So, which is quite strong.
Mhm.
When you look at it in the two-wheeler segment, as I mentioned, it is 55.5%. It started at 58%, but it was dropping to 53. But again, we have seen that the rural India slowly start climbing back the charts in terms of contribution, urban versus rural.
Okay. Okay. How about in the terms of performance of the entry-level vehicles, for example, in two-wheelers as well as passenger vehicles, like the in two-wheelers like 100 and 125 cc, and in terms of passenger vehicles, the small car segment, what were the performance look like?
So the premiumization of the industry is happening right now.
Okay.
As you rightly mentioned, in the passenger vehicle segment, there have been quite strong headwinds, especially in the entry-level segment.
Hmm.
Manufacturers are and dealers together are coming up with various schemes and offers to augment retail. One of the things which they've been doing is that they've been offering extremely good schemes, and along with bankers and financial institutions,
Hmm.
they're also looking at how the customers could be funded, the vehicles could be funded, so that they can start coming in and picking up these vehicles. There's another interesting signs of how used cars, um, because today's used cars, the quality of it, the durability of it is quite high.
Okay.
And because the customer change intervals is also in terms of number of months and years is diminishing,
Hmm.
newer vehicles have actually started to come into the used car segment. So these are also offering extremely good value to customers to consider instead of
Hmm.
a small used car. So
Okay.
it is actually it is actually a used car, a mid-segment car, which is competing right now with a new entry-level small car.
Small cars.
So
Okay.
it's a very interesting options are coming up for customers. So, but that withstanding, there are still a lot of opportunities where the small car can or the entry level car can really serve the purpose of customers, and manufacturers along with the dealers are working really hard to
Okay.
make sure that more customers are interested in this segment.
Okay. So do you think there is a kind of impact of sales because of that, especially when we don't have much upgrades in the entry level cars, for example, whether it is Maruti's Alto or Espresso or Renault's Kwid. Is that so?
All the OEMs throughout the world have seen this whole process of markets being premiumized. They're getting more premium.
Okay.
Segments are being moved one at a time,
Hmm.
and we are also seeing this the factor of comfort and safety sometimes cannot be put into a small car.
Okay.
The extremely good safety features, extremely good,
Hmm.
luxury features cannot be put into a small car because it makes it really expensive. So
Right.
here
Right.
also you're seeing that the mid-segment cars slowly start picking up volumes.
Hmm.
Perhaps today's small car, entry-level car, may not be suiting customers of tomorrow. So you will
Right.
see the premiumization happen in cars. It's also happening in two-wheelers, where OEMs who have very strong um, uh, premium presence are
Hmm.
actually benefiting in the last couple of quarters because they've seen that even urban India as well as
Right.
rural India, both of
Right.
them have started picking up two-wheelers which have more features and which are slightly more expensive than the entry-level ones.
Hmm. Hmm. Right. 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 So do you think that such kind of momentum will continue in the coming months? Especially with prices also going up from January onwards for some of the companies.
Mhm. So the high stock levels um, are a reality, and this reality, the resultant of this reality would be that there would be discounts, high discounts available.
Okay.
Um, but if the OEMs whom we have spoken to if they have got it right, they are trying to optimize inventory by reducing wholesale.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of them have not. So this is a last attempt where these manufacturers who are not reducing inventory can actually start optimizing inventory because
Right.
otherwise it's going to become too late. If they are able to optimize inventory, then the discounts would slowly start coming down because
Right.
again, as I mentioned, inventory and discounts are interrelated.
Right. Right.
So I would think that the next couple of months are going to be strong in terms of retail because of the festive season concluding, but the marriage season starting off.
Okay.
And having a strong marriage season would also mean that the retails are going to go up. And if the optimization of wholesales happen,
Right.
slowly in the next couple of months, we would see a reduction in stock, and therefore
Okay.
might be also a reduction in discounts.
Okay. Okay. And what about in the electric vehicle sales, in both passenger vehicles as well as two-wheelers?
Mhm.
Earlier, we were thinking like, the scooters sales of petrol scooters sales have been impacted by the, electric scooters. So what is
Mhm.
the kind of trend right now? Because after seeing the numbers in festive season and monthly sales of this OEMs growing, growing in terms of sales.
Mhm.
Do you think that still persists in the two-wheeler industry, especially in the scooter segment?
Each time the government reduced the subsidy,
Hmm.
for a few months there's been a dip in sales, but then slowly the sales has picked up.
Okay,
When you look at the scooter segment, probably a couple of years back, the subsidies were about 40 to 50,000, but right now it's come down to about 10,000 or less.
right.
So when each time we see the reduction take place, there's been a temporary speed breaker, but things have picked up again.
Hmm.
We feel that the two-wheeler segment, especially in the scooter segment, is primed for the change to EVs and is also changing very quickly.
Right.
We are looking at it in anticipation of what that would result. The
Okay.
result is for the dealerships and for the manufacturers. Of course,
Okay.
it's great for the customer.
Right. 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 Okay. Lastly, on the policy side, can you share some thoughts on the scrappage policy? I mean, if FADA has given some recommendations or some feedback to the government in terms of scrappage?
We feel that the state governments have to probably start working harder at this because a lot of states have not implemented the policy, have not made it clear.
Right.
And wherever it is also implemented, there is no single window system in terms of ease of starting of these centers because these centers need to be started off in the nook and corner of India,
Right.
given the population and given the demographics and the spread of these vehicles all around.
Mm-hmm.
So I think state governments also need to work in harmony with the central government and probably sort out a lot of these niggling issues which are keeping new scrappage centers to start off with.
Correct.
And a large amount of it, apart from this, a large amount of customer education also needs to happen from different governments.
Right.
We also seen the government requests manufacturers to give incentives, and lot of manufacturers have rolled out some incentives. It's not
Mm-hmm.
very large, but some incentives so that the scrappage can happen from. I mean, it could be initiated from their dealerships,
Right.
but scrappage centers need to come into place
Mm-hmm.
for this to be taken advantage of.
All right, Vigneshwar. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
No worries, Ronnie. Take care.
Thank you.